All right, this is District 2 Sports Podcast. We are doing a region roundup. We're here with the Salem Spartans head coach in his 19th year, Coach Kevin Garst. Coach, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate you guys having me on tonight.
Yes, sir. No, we thank you for your time. We won't hold you too long. I know you got things to do. Get ready for region play this week. But kind of like we talked about already, kind of off air. But I want to get your thoughts on the year. You're 20-4. You're the RiverRidge District champions. Let us know how you felt about the season, and is there anything you could change, or you felt like everything went about as good as it can go?
Yeah, no, it's honestly it's been an unbelievable season. You know, going back to the summertime and even the preseason, like I knew these guys had a chance to be special. Um, some things had to line up and all that. And um Willis White used to say, you know, every year you have surprises. You just hope the good ones outweigh the bad ones. And I think like this group completely exceeded all expectations. The main thing is they're just such a selfless group. They don't care who gets the credit. A lot of nights we have different leading scorers. Um, they just have a great approach every day, whether it's practice, whether it's a road game, home game, doesn't matter who we're playing. Like they stay pretty even keel and take care of business, what they need to take care of. Um, we have great leadership. Those guys kind of set the tone and set the example. And, you know, when you get that, I think it makes my job super easy. You know, um, I think they enjoy being around each other daily. They just have a lot of things that you can't really coach. And, there's a lot of stories on our team of guys that have just been kind of patient with the process and now they're kind of seeing some of the fruit from it. So it's been a great year.
I did want to hit on that. For my, correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw where I think for these seniors they went 8 wins, 9 wins, 11 wins, and then this year they hit 20 wins. So, kind of talk about a little bit more about those seniors who increased that win total each year and what kind of like what they had to put in that process.
Yeah. I think you're talking about Cam Brown and Mari Fox and Amarion. Um, I think the main thing is like they've just gotten better every year. And um, I think they put in a ton of time in of their own time in the off season. Um, and they've kind of faced adversity head on. And I think instead of kind of running from it, they've been able to learn from it and combine that with their hard work and their humility. And I think that's kind of got them to where they're at right now.
And coach, I want to talk about the 4 losses on the season. So you have 2 to North Side, and then you have 1 to Glenver, 1 to Patrick Henry. So, but towards the end of the season, there you guys turn around, you guys beat Glenver and you beat Patrick Henry. Kind of talk about those losses. At North Side, they're a 3A powerhouse and probably looking for their third repeat or third championship. But you're able to come back and get Glenver and Patrick Henry. Just talk about those losses and be able to avenge those losses.
Yeah, no. You never want to lose. Obviously, you want to win every game, but um, I think when you do come up short, like there's always got to be something that you can take from it and hopefully help you to get better. I thought the first time we played Glenver, thought they had a great game plan. I thought they played a great game. Um, we had a couple shots late, but we ended up coming up short. And then the PH loss, I think we were up 5 with maybe 16 seconds to go. Ended up going to overtime, and then we ended up losing in overtime. But I think there was a couple situational things from both of those games that we were able to tighten down. That not necessarily when we played them the next round, but like when we get into regional play and that we might see some of those same situations again that I think we'll be better prepared for. But yeah, nah, and north side, like you, I don't think there's many better teams around. And I just think those are the type teams that will help take you to a level, that's hard to get to on your own. I mean, you just got to be really, really good playing against those teams. And if not, like you're just going to get exposed in areas of weakness. So I think it's super valuable to play teams like that. And, like I say, we try to do the best we can when we do come up short to try to take a couple things and get better from it.
Hey, Coach, I'm gonna skip ahead just a hair to basically tomorrow night's game, and you're talking before we went on air, basically that you were 48 years old. That still puts you 10 years younger than me. So, um, I kind of date back, and the reason why I'm gonna mention this is, I'm a Western District guy. I went to GW, so I don't make any bones about it. So, you
Okay.
know, back in the day, glass was the big, camaraderie and all that kind of good stuff, the rivalry and all that good stuff. And things have kind of changed since I got out of school. Why is Salem High School the thorn in GW High School's side right now? What is going? I mean, it doesn't matter what sport it is. Salem High School is the thorn in GW side.
Well, I hope it continues tomorrow. That's my first thought, but that's a great question. Honestly, in basketball, we haven't really come across them much since they realigned the district and the region and things like that. So this will be the first time we've actually gone head to head with them. I know in football, past several years, our
Bad.
football. Yeah, no, we've had a lot of success in that, but I know there's a ton of respect for the GW program, and hopefully it will be a really good game tomorrow.
I mean, what a pod it's could take place here. I mean, Glass. I guess Glass is considered number one in the region in the bottom down there, and then Halifax, Mecklenburg. I mean, it could be the old Western District less Salem in that bottom pod, but I mean, my goodness. I mean, couldn't it just seemed like everything, all the good ones are right there in one spot, and I'd hate to see anybody lose the thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a really hard road. I thought we had a great year, um, won a lot of games, and when everything's settled, we're going to Danville in our first round game to play another 20 win team. But somehow we can get by that one, then it's probably a good chance we'd have to go on the road and play Glass. So that's a really tough road. But honestly, at this time of year, like if you want to advance, like those are the type teams you have to be able to beat. And so we got to figure out a way to get it done. But it's
I know
it's definitely a tough bracket for sure.
Well, I know Devin's got a question for you, but I'm gonna go ahead and see if we can bring at least a small smile to your face now. So everybody's got a poll, okay? Everybody's got a ranking. Max Preps has got you 51st in the state of Virginia. In Division 4, you're number 7. In the Roanoke poll, you're number 6. I think Dave Walls has you 3 or 4 or 5 somewhere in there, and so does WDBJ. But in the biggest poll of all, the District 2 Sports Podcast Super 10, you're number 3. So I just wanted to let you know you made the top 5, and we've kept up with everybody this year. It's been we've stuck swords in each other's sides and fought, but Salem wound up in number 3 in our final poll.
Well, I really appreciate that, and that's the one that counts, right?
Exactly.
And
That's where all the champagne flows.
hopefully we can prove you right.
Coach, I want to ask a little bit more about the GW game tomorrow night. So definitely going to be a star-studded cast on both sides. With you guys, Mari Fox, Cam Brown, Cam Bowles, and then GW with Zay Cobbs, Isaac Smith, Kobe Morrison. Just curious how you guys stack up against them, how you match up, and then what it's going to take to slow those guys down.
Yeah, that's a great question. I do think it'll be a really good matchup. You know, just watching them on film a couple of times, they're really, really good. And I think the biggest thing for us, defensively, I think it starts with our transition. When a shot goes up on our end, we got certain guys we want going to the offensive boards, and we want them to go hard. Other guys are sprinting back. And so I think it starts with getting the ball stopped, and get them in our half court situation. And then once we get there, ultimately, if we can force them to take contested shots, which is a lot harder said than done, because they got some guys that can really get to the paint, and they got some guys that can create their own shot at a pretty high level. But if we can force them to take consistent shots, I think over the course of a game, we should be pretty good if we can do that. I think from an offensive perspective, I think they run multiple defenses. I've seen them 2 or 3 different types of presses every game. They play man. They've played some 3-2 zones. So I think we just got to have poise against their pressure. And if we do get trapped, when we get it out, that we're attacking the rim, and just really taking care of the ball and making sure we're getting a good one every time down the floor. But like I say, that can be easier said than done against those guys.
Coach, I know I'm probably going to jump on one of these 2 boys of mine's toes here in just a second, but we talked about Cam Brown, we talked about Marius Fox. Listen, we do like a little recruiting thing every week, and Gregory was able to bring up some highlights of Cam Bowles.
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to tell you, I mean, I love the kid. I think he could be the player of the year in that district, in the conference, all state. I mean, I don't see anything. Everything is solid about his game, and to have him for another year, wow, it's got to bring a smile to your face.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's definitely one of the most selfless kids I've ever coached, and one of the hardest workers. What you see on game night in terms of how hard he plays, like, he literally is like that every day in practice, like, if not even harder. And, a lot of people don't know this, but like in the preseason, like right before the start of school, we had a kid that transferred out. And so we kind of went to Cam, we're like, hey, what do you think about this role on our team? And of course, being the selfless player that he is, he's like, absolutely, I'm all in. And, he'd kind of always been a perimeter player up to this point. And, this new role involved playing through, sometimes on the block, sometimes on the elbows, sometimes on the perimeter. And it's been a really, really good move for our team. I think it gives us a ton of flexibility in what we do offensively. And honestly, most nights, like, he's going to have a mismatch depending on how they choose to defend him. If they go with a smaller guy, like, we can pound it inside. If they go bigger, like, we can put him in more driving situations. So yeah, no, it's been a really good move for us, and he's definitely been a solid player for us.
Coach, any advantage or disadvantage of playing at Averett? I mean, you're not playing at GW's home gym. You get a little bigger, more spacious area for maybe some of your fans to show up there at Averett University.
Yeah, I've heard stories of how tough it is to play at GW and how crazy that place can get. So I've never personally experienced it, but just based on some of the stories I've heard, I think it would have to be to our advantage to play at a bigger venue like that. But we'll see. I'm sure they'll still bring a good crowd, and hopefully we can bring some too.
Coach, last one for me. What's the conversation like right before game time? What's the keys to victory?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think these guys are ready. I think, for us, it's the same things it's been all year, and it's nothing earth-shattering or revelational. For us, offensively, it starts with rebounding the ball. Like, we got to be good, making contact. be physical on box outs. And then once we get it secured, like we're trying to get it and go and try to have as many possessions as we can where we're just not playing against a set defense. And I just think the more we can do that, the better. If we do go against a set defense, are we able to create an advantage and play from there and get a good shot? I do think specific to tomorrow, like I think handling the pressure will be very important, having poise with the ball, and honestly, just being able to recognize their changing defenses and not waste possessions because we're not attacking it the right way. And I think defensively, it starts like we mentioned earlier. When our shot goes up, we're hitting the boards, we're getting back, and then once they get the ball, like we're sprinting back to the paint, matching up, and trying to get it back to neutral. Like I say, I think against these guys specifically, we're going to have to guard the ball really, really well and try not to get in as many help situations as we can because they do have some guys that can play and get it to the paint. And then, like I say, when their shot goes up, we got to limit them to one, and think we can do that. We'll have a chance.
Coach, we'll wrap this thing up, but I just wanted to let you know that, we interviewed quite a coaches from the ODAC conference this year, and one specifically, Caleb Kimbrough from Hampton Sydney, said that he would win the coaches one-on-one tournament hands down. So I said, I'm going to go in depth a little bit with you just a second and, kind of bring a little tongue in cheek, kind of a little fun to this. You and our good buddy, Jacob Gruss, play one-on-one. Who wins that?
That wasn't the question I was expecting. Because I actually played at Hampton Sydney back in '99. So I thought you going.
I'm sorry.
No.
I had to find a way to get Gruss in here somehow. We can't. As much as we talked to him over the past few years, he actually coached Devin at Dan River when he was down here, and we talked to him every once in a while. And I just had to throw that in there. If you ever see him again, tell him from us. He looks 10 pounds heavier on camera, okay? And he'll know where you got it from.
All right, I'll definitely pass that along. But yeah, I don't know much about his game. I don't know. I was always a defensive guy, so
you could probably shut him down.
Maybe if I could keep him from scoring, maybe we could just end on a tie, 0-0 or something.
There you go. There you go. He'd appreciate that.
Yeah, it would be. Those days are long past me.
Well, Coach, we do appreciate your time. Like I said, we wish you luck tomorrow night against GW there at Averett University. Hopefully, maybe we can get there and watch you guys play and see if you guys get the victory there. So, we thank you, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and hopefully it'll be a good game tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Coach Kevin Garst of the Salem Spartans. All right, so District 2 Sports Podcast are continuing our region roundup here. We're joined by the Patrick Henry Glade Spring Rebels in his 6th season as the head coach, Coach Frederick Selfe. Coach, how's he doing tonight?
Hey, I'm here. I'm ready. I love talking basketball. Give some Southwest Virginia some love tonight. That's what
there we go. Yes, like I said before, we had to show some love down there. But
yeah,
I want to talk about the season as a whole. I mean, you're Hogoheegee champs, second ever regular season, first year as the first tournament winners as well.
Yep.
So. 22-3. Talk to us about the season.
Well, obviously it's been historic. That's kind of been our motto for the year is we just wanted to do something that's never been done at the school, and we've worked. And last year we got some taste of some regional berth. We almost made the state tournament. We lost an inbounds play last year, lost by 1. But I returned to everybody from last year. I had 2 seniors. One was coming off a double ACL, so he's kind of limited minutes. And so I played 7, played 8 sometimes, but I got a big group of the 7 back, and the experience from last year rolling into this year. I mean, we've thankfully not missed a beat. We've dropped 3 games. We lost to 2 AA schools. They both won their district. and then we lost to a AAA school out of Abingdon on an awkward Wednesday night for us. They're actually an in-county rival. Hadn't played them in about 10 years. We beat them the first time, and they got us the second one. But single A wise, I mean, we've definitely rolled, and we've played well as a group.
Coach, looking at the schedule here, I mean, you played Chilhowie, we played Central Wise, you played Virginia
Yep.
High, you played Abingdon, like you mentioned,
Yep.
Northwood, I think. I think these all are teams who have made it to the next level in two region play. So you've kind of played a
Yep.
difficult schedule throughout the year. Is that something you kind of focused on and want to get going before region and state
Yeah.
play?
Yeah. So we played in two different tournaments. We played at the Virginia High tournament, and we got to see some very good competition down there. We played two AA schools, and then we went up to UVA Wise, where we got to play four AA schools. We went 3-1 and 2-1 in both tournaments. So, but I mean, we dropped to Virginia High. I mean, they lost in the 2A state championship last year to John Marshall. We lost to Y Central, and I mean, they're one of the best teams in Southwest Virginia. I mean, they've got some studs on their roster. And then the Abingdon game, and that was just more personal than a 3A versus a single A type night. But yeah, I mean, we've tried to play at the highest level because, we knew when we would hit, Region C, even Region D for us. I mean, there's going to be some competitive teams, competitive games, and you gotta see it to play it.
Coach, you're talking about the Abingdon game. We had that awkward Wednesday night. I mean, I've never seen a game or a series where you beat a team by 30 and you lose by 30. So you're like, yeah, it just seems like maybe it's just the rivalry in general. I mean, that's crazy. So
yeah, it was yeah. I mean, we're within 10 miles of each other. So that was one to get them on the schedule, was a big step. And we made a statement at home, and it was, with the snow, it kept kind of getting pushed back, and we had actually claimed the regular season title at that point. I think it was one of those nights. Cole had dropped 50 in the night before. We scored 99, wow. And then we kind of came in, and it was a good game to humble yourselves. I think that we thought we were a lot better than we were, and sometimes you got to be set back down, and I'm very thankful for it, obviously, moving forward. But definitely not a night that I like to talk about.
But Coach, about your season here, I mean, you put up some points. I mean, you put up 89, 88, 81, 99, 86, 82, so on and so on. What's working for offense?
Man, we were so unselfish. We're actually a diamond press team back into a 1-3-1. I'm very long. We get a lot of tips, and we run in transition, and we pass so well. I mean, we just see the floor, we see the open teammate. It's not that we're trying to drive and look for us. We're driving to create for a teammate. So I think we're averaging almost 20 assists a game. So that also speaks to the high percentage of shooting that we have. But we just run. We like to shoot layups. Definitely not the best 3-point shooting team, but with our length and the way that we can kind of move, it's helped us score up to, I think we're 78 points per game right now. And it's definitely been nice to have some unselfish kids that like the assist numbers.
Coach, I looked at basically the top 8, as far as scored, and it's not like it's exactly like you just said. You said that you like to give up the ball, pass to a teammate, whatever. You don't have the 0.3 assists per game. You don't have the guy that's get the 0.7. You got guys that are average 2 to basically 8 or assists a game. And it's just wonderful. It's crazy. I love the way they share the basketball. We had Gregory helped me, Devin helped me. I think it was Carson
Street and Cole Kaywood.
Yeah, on both of our podcasts. And the thing that people have noticed when we put these highlights up, and the quote that has actually been sent down to me is, his guys know how to play together. So I think not only do you see it, not only do we see it, but people on a higher level actually see it as well.
Well, we appreciate that. Yeah, it's you can tell the experience together and the willingness to do whatever it takes. But yeah, I mean, we actually had a kid. I'm not sure when the VHSL has last updated their assist record, but it was 19, and one of our seniors, he actually broke and tied the VHSL record with 19 assists the other night. Wow. Whenever Cole had 50. So I mean, they love it. I mean, it's a stat that we talk about every single night, and it's going to be whoever's got the ball going on the floor, they're probably going to pass it and give it up for someone else.
Coach, y'all have been on an upward trajectory going back to like 2021, really. I mean, you go 8-14 that year, 14-12, 19-10, and now 22-3.
Yeah.
What's really been the recipe for success getting all the way to what y'all have done this year?
Well, it's been a really, really long road. And I'll kind of even go back a little bit further. I'm a PH guy. I went to Patrick Henry High School. Actually, Cole and Kate's dad, he was my high school head coach. So we were in a district with George With, and it was so hard to get out of our district because we were so competitive every single night. And we've just not been the program that has made it out or has been able to win. And that's just something that we've fought for 6 years. We actually, in that time span of me graduating till when I took over, we had 2 years where we won 0 games, 2 years where we only won 1 game. And it's just been a complete kind of culture change where we've been known as a football school, which is not a bad thing because football players can play basketball. And that's kind of what I was able to do. I'm a 3-sport coach. I've been a assistant football coach for many, many years. And for me to get the football kids on the basketball court has been a huge step for our program going in the right direction. And then when you start to see success and you say, hey, we can play with these teams, then I start to get true basketball players like Cole and Kate and Carson. And they're just true kids that know how to win and want to win. And then the success has kind of poured and poured and poured. And we made the region for the first time 3 years ago. It was the first time in 10 years. Last year was our first region win since 2006. This year was our first. We actually tied the school record for most wins in a year with 20. We now have the most wins ever in school history with 22. Had the outright regular season district champs for the second time ever and the first time winning the tournament. And, 6 years ago, we were like, is this possible? And then now that it's here, it's kind of crazy to think about, but it's just been such an effort and a battle for 6 years to get to this point.
Coach, I looked at my boys here. They have 0 tolerance for max preps, but I use them as a kind of a guide a little bit, sort of.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I kind of looked at some of the rankings that popped up, and I think they're both right, actually, on this first one. Your Virginia ranking, according to max preps, and this is, I guess, across the board, is 147. With the way you're pummeling people, that's got to be the worst 147 that ever was in my life.
Yeah,
so I don't know if you saw it or not, but Tri-Cities. Oh, okay. Tri-Cities has you number 15, and then Virginia 1A has you guys number 2, right behind George With. Yeah. But let me tell you something. We had to, due to our friend out in Southwest, we expanded our boundaries. Yeah. You did happen to make the District 2 Sports Podcast top 10. So I wanted to let you know that. So I figured you'd be happy about that. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Well, I'm more mad about Max Prep State of Virginia. They keep dropping us. I mean,
that's
I'm winning
ridiculous.
By 50. I think the highest we had gotten was like 127, and then we dropped to Abingdon, and it put us down like 15 spots. But I mean, we're winning, but we're winning at high percentages. I mean, we're beating teams by 35, 40 points. And Cole and Cade and Carson aren't even playing in the fourth quarter, and that just kind of is a precedence of my second group guys that can kind of keep it up. But I mean, winning helps, and winning by big margins is awesome. But I wish we could go up a little bit more. But being number 2 in single A, we'll take that. We'll take that.
I know nobody likes to look ahead, but when could you potentially, I'll just throw that in there, potentially play with? I mean, is it the finals or semis, or where can you see them?
So Region C and D, they've eliminated the Final Four at VCU. That was always, the pre-COVID thing. You'd play back-to-back nights. It was very, very historic and special to have that opportunity. But ever since COVID, you play the semis or the quarters in the semis in your own area. And then if you make the finals, you were to go up to VCU. So George West Region C, they've got 3 out of the top 5 teams in single A, and then we've got Region D. So if we were to win or lose the region, if we happen to make the championship, we would see Region C immediately. So we would have
Wow.
Region C and D have to play to make the championship. Yeah.
Well, I don't care what class you play in. If you don't attend that game, you're missing a treat. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
I feel that it's going to happen at some point in time.
Yeah. Well,
Coach,
Region D, we've got some guys, so I hope
Yeah.
we can sell that place out wherever we go.
last two for me. Just talking about the bracket in general. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys are a one seed, Grundy, East Side. You have some familiar faces. Twin Springs you played already. Will be a playing game to play against you guys or Quinn Valley, Northwood and Chilhowie as well. What are your thoughts on the region as a whole?
Well, so last year we were the playing game. So we were the Twin Springs, Twin Valley last year. We actually played Twin Valley in the playing game last year at home. We won that one, and then we got to play East Side, who was at the top of the bracket. They were the one seed, and we beat them at UVA Wise. And then we actually ran back into Chilhowie for the third time in the semifinals. We beat them in the two previous regular season games, and then we lost to them off an inbounds play, which definitely hurt. But now we've got Burton or Hurley in the second round, which we played Burton 3 times last year. Very, very competitive all 3 times. So if we can get through the first round and we can get Burton in that second round, or even Hurley, who's been dealing with a lot of flooding issues in their area, they've been unable to practice. They actually canceled their whole BDD tournament. So I feel like they're at a disadvantage by not getting on the floor. So if we do get Burton in that second round, I think our kids are excited because they got all their guys back. We get all our guys back. They won the Cumberland District Championship last night. They beat East Side, and then the bottom of the bracket is absolutely loaded. You get Grundy, who's like 16-5. They play a lot of AA schools. Rolled through the BDD pretty well, and then you got Chilhowie, who went toe to toe with us every single night. I will say that the Friday night district tournament championship that we had was probably the best basketball I've ever been a part of as a head coach. I mean, just talk about dogs versus dogs, athletes versus athletes. So that's going to be probably the most exciting first round matchup is going to be Grundy and Chilhowie. And then you got Eastside and Northwood. Northwood was our actual 4 seed in the district, won in the playing game against Holston, and now they have the honor to go down and play Coach Dambrin in Eastside, who's been in multiple state championships, compete at the highest level in single A. So it's a heavily loaded bracket, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to see how it unfolds next week.
Coach, my last question for you is this. I think we actually interviewed I don't know how close a friend you are with him or not, but y'all had to play some basketball against each other or with each other at some point in time. Is it Blake Mellinger at UVA Wise?
Hey, Blake's a PH guy.
That's it. So
He's a PH guy.
That was my next question. Hey, y'all play one-on-one, who wins?
I'm gonna say Blake. I can't. Hey, Blake is. We've got 5,000 point scores at Patrick Henry High School, and Blake's one of them. So I'm not in that. I'm not there. Him and Cole. I think now him and Cole would be a good game. I would take Cole probably in that one, and I hope Blake sees this and he can take a little competitive edge and say, hey, I should recruit Cole so I can play him every day in practice. Because we would love to have him down there at Wise. But yeah, Blake's a PH guy. His dad's a longtime PH coach. I would actually love to see the Cole or Cade versus Blake Mellinger one-on-one. I think that would be even better. I'd take the popcorn and sit on the sideline on that one. Yeah.
What a facility
Yeah,
Blake
no
has
shame.
down there. Yeah, that's a beautiful
Yes.
place over there. It really is. I think it's a hidden gem, actually.
Yeah.
And Coach, I know we're wrapping up the interview and everything, but just want to say, as far as we'd love to get you back on on the podcast in the future, just to really talk some Southwest Virginia basketball. We mainly cover teams from the Lynchburg, Roanoke sort of area, Danville even, but it's good to talk. And one thing we've noticed from watching all the highlights of all these kids is there's some nice gyms in the Southwest, and you can tell there's a lot of pride in the basketball down there. So we would definitely love to talk about it more in the future for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, if you're free next Friday at Virginia High, you'll have 1 and 2A in the same gym for the region championship. So if you all are available, come down. I don't know how far that is from you, but Virginia High has a beautiful, beautiful facility. They're actually hosting single A and double A state championship there the night after the region. So if you all are interested in single and double A region championship, I think it's 4 games that night. I think the girls are playing and the boys are playing that night. So it'll be a packed night of Southwest Virginia basketball if you all want to make that trip after work.
Hey, I'll be coming up from Jacksonville. I might have some time to do that. So
There you go. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, we know we do appreciate your time. Like again, we wish you the best of luck, either against Twin Springs or Twin Valley. So, Coach Frederick Selfe of the Patrick Henry Glade Spring Rebels. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
No problem.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, District 2 Sports Podcast. We're continuing our region roundup here. We're joined by the LCA Bulldogs first-year head coach, Coach Matthew Klein. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I appreciate the invitation to speak with you guys today.
No, Coach, we do appreciate your time. I know you have a lot of stuff going on. You've already played a region game, so we're kind of, talking about the other teams kind of starting, but you've already been in the mix of it. But I want to go back to your season. I believe you finished regular season like about 19-5 or maybe 18-5 before that region game. But kind of talk about what you thought about it. Was it a good season, great season, or how you felt about it?
Yeah, 18-5 is what we were this year, regular season. Last year we're 8-15, and the last couple of years, obviously they didn't finish kind of like they have in prior years. Anytime you take over a new program, there's going to be change. There's going to be heartburn. There's going to be new standards, expectations, things like that. And I thought we did. I thought we did well. I think we progressed over the season for sure. I do think we left some fruit on the table, if you will. It is what it is, and that's why we got the 5th seed in the region and not a top 4 seed. But I was pretty pleased. But as a competitor, I look at the 5 games that we lost, and I look back and say we've got to have done a better job coaching. I think we could have been on top. So,
and kind of looking at your schedule, you played some teams. I mean, you already played Glass, who's in your conference or district, whatever you want to say it. You split with them, got a good win over them. But you added conference, play Allegheny, you play Roanoke Catholic. When you come into the season, or I don't know if the schedule's already set for you. I know they're 2-year cycles, but were you looking to play a more difficult schedule to get you prepared for region play in state tournament time?
Yeah, absolutely. I prior when I was at the private school in the area in Covenant, in our conference we played Blue Ridge, Miller School. I played Carlisle School in the state champion last year. I mean, we would play a loaded schedule, and sometimes your record wouldn't look great, if you will. But I mean, you're getting as good a live bullets as you can. And so, this year I didn't have much of a choice. The schedule was set, but I knew the North Side Invitational was going to be good. And Roanoke Catholic is a talented team. They got the best of us, and so did Allegheny. I'd love to turn the clock back, but it is what it is. I mean, playing a team like Glass twice a year, you can't prepare for that in practice, that type of pressure that they apply. But I thought we did for even the game that we lost. We did a nice job handling that. But yeah, I mean, you want to play against good talent. It's the only way you get better.
And kind of talking about we do a weekly, like we talked about before we started the podcast, but like we do a thing midweek about prospects and recruits, and we talked about Josiah Bryant and your guard Jackson there. You can talk about those two and how much they mean to the team. I'm not sure it's a 5-person team, but kind of talk about some players to note.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's not official. We actually had our Seminole District meetings today, and Jay, or Josiah, I call him Jay, but was the second leading vote getter for the year, so first team, and is kind of our Mr. Do-It-All. He's physical as an ox. When he gets downhill, I mean, he's just really tough to guard. He's really improving on his perimeter shooting, which has been incredible. And honestly, I think the most important thing is his improvement at the free throw line, because he puts guys in such challenging obstacles when they're gardening. And so he's really shooting the ball well. Most importantly, he's just a great kid, and that kid is an absolute gym rat. He's in the gym every day. I got off the phone today to congratulate him. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to the gym, coach." I said, "I hear you." And then Ryan also made first team, and he is kind of our quarterback on the floor. He hasn't had to do as much creating off the bounce for himself this year because we have a few more pieces around him. But he's a coach's kid. His dad's the associate head baseball coach at North Carolina. He gets it. And so just a good kid that is always trying to get better and kind of gets that boat running. And then we had two other young men make second team, or two sophomores, Trey Smith and Colton Davis, both made second team all Seminole, and both of those guys, we didn't really know they were going to play varsity at the beginning of the season, but they did, and they checked in the starting lineup, and both of those kids have made it where I can't take them off the court. They're 46 and 45% from three, and so obviously they can shoot the ball, and Trey Guard's the best player all the time, and Colton is that clutch guy he's tough as nails. And then, we got a number of other guys. Our fifth guy that starts is Ryder Zingelman. That's 6'5" kid that he might be more special from outside the perimeter than even around the rim. And he's pretty good around the rim. And but we got some really good pieces. And I think that's what makes us unique is our depth right now. Is we go 9 guys pretty evenly.
Coach, I don't want to let you off the hook too easy, okay? But, I know you said this was your first year over there at LCA, and I don't even know who had this quote. I might have made it up myself. But the thing that when I looked at your roster today was the thing that stood out to me was don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today. So I'm kind of giving you 2 years to get this thing done, but you guys got to have a inside smile. You got to be laughing inside with the guys that you have, but you got them back for another year, basically. I guess Ryan would be the only one you wouldn't be having coming back. But so you could go back to back. I mean, I know that's one of them, but I'm just saying you got to be smiling deep down inside.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're always excited. We got a big challenge on Monday. I mean, our sentiment the other day after practice was we don't want this to be the last bus ride, right? And we have enough talent to make a real run. Am I a good enough coach? I don't know. Do we make enough adjustments? But yeah, I mean, the future is bright. I mean, our JV team was 21-0, and I brought up 3 young men from JV, two freshman point guards, and a big kid to come start practicing with us now. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not naive to know that we've got some really good pieces that are coming back, and we're excited about that. But right now, it's about today.
Well, the other thing that I was going to bring up, and I know everybody's got a ranking, everybody's got a poll, whether coaches look at them or not. I think you do, but you don't tell anybody. But that's just one of those things. But, I'm sitting there looking at Max Preps today. I think everybody at Max Press lost their minds. They've got you ranked number 90 in the state of Virginia overall. Somebody's done lost their minds. You're number 10 according to Max Preps in 3, and then number 12 in the Roanoke rankings. Just to let you know, the District 2 Sports Podcast had you finishing up at number 8. So that's the one that really counts, and that's where the champagne and caviar really is. So I just wanted to let you know that. But
I appreciate that.
Yeah, in all seriousness, though, Gregory kind of brought this up earlier. I mean, you avenge losses. You lose to Glass, you come back and beat them down, and then when we had you like in our top 2 or 3, a big JF game comes up and knocks you out knocks you down a little, but you come back and pay them back. So, I mean, is that one of the mantras for this team? Is, hey, let's go get that back. Let's go get back what they took from us to begin with.
Yeah, JF was a perfect storm. I'll be honest; those guys, the record doesn't really tell the tale on how good those guys are, and they really match up with us well from from an athletic standpoint. Hats off to Coach Monroe. They had a really good design that game. It was important for us to get that one. That's if we have a rivalry game, certainly Glass, I think, is going to be, moving forward and has been for years. But JF is kind of that one, and they played really, really well at their place, and it was important for us to get that, especially on senior night. And I mean, they battled us all night long, and finally we pulled away at the end. But yeah, I mean, you don't ever, our goal this year was simple: win the city, because I think the Seminole runs through the city with Heritage, Glass, and us, and we didn't do that. We went 2-2. Obviously, we want to win the Seminole District, and we tied second for that. And then obviously regionals on down. So we didn't get to do as many checks off the boxes as I'd like, but we are starting to move in the right direction. And I'm a firm believer those losses, you're always going to learn more. I mean, I know I do, because I get home at 10 o'clock and then I'm up watching film till 1 because I beat myself up about, why I didn't call this. But, that's got to be who you are as a DNA, right? Just fight back and get it rolling.
Well, Coach, I want to talk about the region as a whole. So we're in the quarterfinals already. So you guys, they already played playing games, but look at the quarterfinals. You have, Western Albemarle up there. You're with Wilson Memorial. That bottom half of the bracket looks pretty loaded with Spotswood, Allegheny, Stanton, Heritage. Can I get your thoughts on the bracket?
Yeah, and I'm learning the whole seeding process with VHSL, and in VISA, you were ranked 1 through 12 for the state in each division, and you go play ball. So I'll know to make sure I schedule 4s and 5s and 6s moving forward. But yeah, I mean, I looked across the board at what I did is I took all 4 classifications, and then I kind of used max preps as the grain of salt. But I went through the rankings, and you're pretty top heavy in a couple of them. But our class is so loaded from top to bottom, and I think it really is going to come down to every night what matchups win. And the beauty of us is, we can go small. We obviously can go big. If we're shooting well, we're a challenge for anybody, as long as we can defend. And so I like where we're at. But, Wilson Memorial on Monday is going to be tough. They got a couple dudes, well coached, and we're excited about it. But, obviously the obstacle or the goal is to get to the championship game against Stanton or Spotswood.
And Coach, I want to ask, before we look ahead to Wilson Memorial, as Gregory mentioned earlier, y'all have already kind of got your playoff play started. So you had a huge win over Rocktown the other night. Just talk about how that game went. If y'all came out relatively healthy and everything like that, and then and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I again, knock on wood, but we've had a couple of bumps and bruises just like everybody, but our depth has allowed us to keep guys really healthy, and we do some unique things to make sure guys are rested and as healthy as they can be. And so, yeah, I mean, we came out without any bumps or bruises. Rocktown was playing good ball. They have beaten the number 3 seed Stanton. They played Wilson Memorial within 5 or 6 points. They played William Monroe within 7, and they remind me of Glass. Certainly not as talented in depth, but just the style. And so we had to be ready for them. I thought we came out and kind of punched them in the mouth pretty quickly, and kind of set the tone. It took a while for us to really get going, but we did. And like I said, once we start hitting some shots, especially from outside, our confidence kind of grows, and felt really good. I mean, you beat a team like that by almost 30 or whatever it was. It's a good start. And for me, anytime I can get all 13 guys on the floor getting significant minutes, that's a win.
Coach, I looked at your roster this afternoon, and I talked about it a few moments ago, and how happy you would be to bring them back next year. The thing that stood out to me was especially the top four. I mean, those guys average anywhere from 8.6 to 15 points a game. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, it's not like it jumps off the board at you and knocks you in the face. But at the same time, when you look down the other statistics, such as rebound and an assist, everybody rebounds. Everybody has assists. They distribute the ball, and it seems like they play together really well. So, saying that, and me saying that you win Region 3C right off the get-go, how far do you look ahead as far as maybe possibly a matchup with I don't know, North Side maybe?
Well, I prepare very far out. We'll just put it like that. And throughout the year, I'm downloading games of anybody that we'll ever imagine seeing. And my goal is always to be in Richmond. Period. And whether it's this year or next year or whenever. But obviously, I wanted to play Northside at Northside Invitational. I mean, that was the plan, and that's what I was preparing for, and it didn't work out that way. But again, at the end of the day, we got to take care of business on Monday, and we got a challenging schedule. But we're going to be prepared. We're going to put the pieces together. I look at what matchups can we take advantage of, and but yeah, we obviously want to be where we want.
Coach, last one for me. Was it Monday tomorrow? 7:15, 7:20, somewhere around there. You guys are in the locker room. What's the message to the boys?
Well, it's a great question. I think most importantly, keep loving each other, playing for each other. Be unselfish. Heard a great quote by one of the coaches a couple of weeks ago, and that's basically said, if you're taking a shot and you're not the open one, you probably should be taking a shot, right? I mean, make sure you're giving the ball up, and we do. We got a lot of unselfishness on our team, and I think that's the beauty of it. We don't have someone that's 23 points a game. No, I mean, you got to scout for 5, 6, 7 guys. That's where it gets tough. And so, enjoy every minute, embrace it. Honestly, my last point to the guys after Saturday's practice was, let's go make sure we really enjoy this last bus ride up there, because who knows? And win or lose, this is about the relationships that you build with each other, right? And this is as close to battle as these guys might ever come, right? I mean, with their brothers, and so just enjoy the moment and make sure you don't leave anything on the floor.
Absolutely. And Coach, just getting into tomorrow night's game there. Just curious, what do you see in out of Wilson Memorial, and what are your keys to winning that game?
Well, we're going to full court press these guys all night long and run a no.
We do have a lot of Wilson Memorial fans listening.
Right. No, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we know, number 1 and number 10 are pretty special. Snyder can fill it up from 52 feet, I think. So he is, and they played LCA twice last year. LCA won one and Wilson Memorial, so they split. But yeah, I mean, we got to take care of business on those two guys, and then eliminate the second chance opportunities. Our blueprint is one shot. You get one shot, and obviously offensively, we got to attack the boards. But yeah, I mean, take those guys away in whatever different ways we look at. Key on those guys, and then offensively, we got to be efficient, right? Take high percentage shots, catch and shoots, get stuff around the rim. Be patient with what we want to do. I mean, we run a good number of stuff that will get us good looks, but this is a good team, and they're obviously watching film too.
All right, Coach. Well, we thank you for your time again. I know you have a lot of film work to go over tonight, so we thank you for your time. And Coach Matthew Klein of the LCA Bulldogs in his first season. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you so much, and just really appreciate all you guys do for local high school sports. It means a lot.
Sir. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thank you,
We'd like to
sir.
have you on again and talk a little bit longer. So we thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Be good.
Thank you, Coach.
Sure.
Bye.
All right, so District 2 Sports Podcast, we're continuing our series on the region bracket play here. We're joined by seventh-year head coach of the EC Glass Hilltoppers, Coach DJ Best. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you guys for having me this evening.
Well, Coach, no, thank you for your time. I know you got a lot of things going on and getting ready for this region play, but like I said, my first question is about your season. You guys go 20-3 here. What were your thoughts on the season? Was it good, great, or some things you guys could improve upon?
I think it's an interesting 20-3. One of the things that I stay humble about is that although everybody can see 20-3, we're probably 3 shots away from being 17-6 or 3 shots away from being undefeated. It's the shot that's heard around the world is the one that Will Wesley took against Northside at the Chance Harmon tournament. But, we've had some really great competition. If you look, we're playing a lot of top-seeded people in their respective brackets. So we played Albemarle, we played Northside, we played Spotswood twice, we played Fleming. We scrimmaged Glade Spring, and we scrimmaged Western Albemarle. So our out-of-district opponents are, to say that they're the upper echelon. And I think when you play teams like that, it allows you to figure out some deficiencies from a coaching standpoint. Those teams, they're very well coached. They're going to show you without telling you where your deficiencies are. So you put it on tape, you let your guys see it, and then you drill into the little details. I think although, 20-3, all of our guys will tell you the same thing. The hardest test is the man in the mirror. Continuing to do the same exact stuff over and over and over, getting it redundant, it becomes consistent. But drilling those little details to the point that we, as odd as it sounds, is we can find new problems to try to work on. And I think it kind of makes it fun. The guys and the season has been kind of fun. After every game, it's kind of been the same talk of, how good do we want to be? That we're very senior heavy with 8 seniors, but we're also very deep, which is one of the best things as you can get to this timetable and you say, well, one of your better players is only playing 16, 17 minutes a game. How is he going to look if you need him to play 24, 25? He'll be ready to go because he hasn't had to do it all season.
Coach, let me jump in real quick because, Gary, if I don't say it, I'll forget. You know how these old guys are nowadays. But listen, you mentioned something a minute ago about the shot heard around the world. Okay. So some people have said, oh, it was just a lucky 3-pointer from the corner, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. We interviewed Coach Pope. Coach Pope said it was a great shot. It was an absolute beautiful shot. Kid got off. He had no problem with it whatsoever. He has given you guys credit from since day one. So I just wanted to let you know that it was nothing fluky about it whatsoever. I personally haven't seen it, but I just know if we interviewed him and he said it was nothing fluky about it, then there's nothing fluky about it. So, but how does that go with you guys? I mean, right off the get-go, you're the only one that's hung a L on those guys. So, and plus, you've only lost to 2 teams, Fleming and to LCA, and then you avenged your LCA loss. So, I mean, it just seems like the season is progressing as things go on, especially towards this tournament.
I think so. Getting to Northside, first off, I absolutely love playing Coach Pope and his team. I mean, they've been good every single year. And this is the first year I beat them in, I think, the last 4 years. So I finally got me one. But I think it's also a test for me because of how well of a coach he is and what he's going to try to put us through. It's really cool to play a game like that in a neutral site environment where both teams kind of have to travel, both teams have to get ready. Both teams know it's going to be a battle, but you use those games to fuel you for the rest of the season. We kind of score watch around for certain teams, and we've watched them kind of thump on people after.
Right.
And it's one of those things where everybody's feeling the shot from glass. we knock them off on a great shot, lucky shot. My kid said as soon as he let it go, he knew it was good.
Nice.
But it's one of those things where sometimes it pays to be a little lucky from time to time. And so being able to have a great relationship with them, being able to, so the cool thing is we actually also split over the summertime too. So we played them 2 times at some summer camps and we split that 1-1 also. So very, very great team they have over there. But it's challenging for our guys to be able to get up and get ready for those types of games because it lets us know where our standard of play can be. Now just getting them to stay at that level every single night, that's coaching high school athletes. That's the hard part. That's why we as coaches are still in the driver's seat.
Coach, I had to pull up a picture while you were going through that. And listen, we've made it known that, and listen, I got to totally disagree with this ranking. I know the coaches don't ever look at a poll. They don't ever look at any kind of ranking or anything. But the Max Preps has you guys at number 37 in the state of Virginia overall. They got to be wacky is all I can tell you about that. Something just don't coincide right there. You're listed at number 3 in D4. You're listed at number 3 in the Roanoke rankings. I just so happened to watch your highlights Friday night. And I had to take a picture. We have nothing against Dave Walls whatsoever. I think he copies our poll now. But anyway, we had you finishing at number 2 in the District 2 Sports Podcast poll, Super 10 poll. So I wanted to congratulate you on that. We'll get you this champagne and caviar later on. But I look at all the rankings, and then we did talk to Coach. Was it Garst a little while ago, Gary?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Salem.
I'm just absolutely blown away by this Region 4D regional tournament. I mean, it reminds me of the old Western District as it was known when I was in high school. You guys could be playing Halifax or Mecklenburg, of course. Of course, if you put Halifax in there, it's almost the Western District. But in my book, it just doesn't seem right to have all 4 of you guys listed in that bottom bracket with GW and Salem. It just doesn't seem right. It just, hey, spread the wealth. You know what I mean? I mean, give us
this
it's
new
crazy.
format of a North and South breakdown, I think it's got us coaches in an uproar. If you call Zook from Hanley last year, he was on the bad side of that one where Charlottesville and Hanley was single-handedly the best 2 teams in the district, and they don't get to compete for a region championship because they're coming out of the North together. And now I think you turn around and you flip it and you say, well, we're 20-3, GW's 18-3, and Salem is 19-4. You have a combined of a total whopping of 10 losses.
Yes.
And someone's not gonna make it. Which I guess to their point, the best people prevail. But man, how good would it be you get Hanley, a Glass, Salem, a GW split, and now we get to go at it.
Well, I watched the highlights Friday night of the game, and it kind of coincided with the roster that I looked at today. I mean, I could sit here and look at your guys' points per game. It's not anything that's going to be extravagant. It doesn't smack you in the face and say 20, 15, and 10 or whatever, a triple double or anything. But you got guys that rebound. You got guys that put it, can dish the ball out to score to other scorers. And then, I sit there and I look at the statistics, 10 points a game, 12 points a game, 9 points. Like I said, it doesn't just like smack you in the face. But then I watch the highlights Friday night and I see your guys bringing the ball down the court, running the 3-man weave, basically. I actually saw one kid circle down underneath the goal, come back out and dish to one of those pocket passes to the guy on the right-hand side, I believe it was, for a nice lay-in. What is it about it? I mean, is this something that you instilled upon them to share the basketball, to play together, or where does all this come from?
So it is, and it's very hard to get high school kids alone to play this style of basketball. But when you think about it, most teams right now, they'll tell you they got 2 great defenders, and they're going to go play 2 other great offenders on the offensive side. But the thing for us is, okay, well, you put your two on who you feel is the best two on us. And those two might not beat you on the scoring table, but next thing you know, they look up and they got 6 assists and we got 3 people in double digits. So you say, all right, well, second half, we got to switch this up. Let's move these people, guard these people. I think these guys, they naturally have fun with which guy is going to have the night tonight. And when they started buying into that, it took them a little bit early on. We had some bumps and roads. Of course, I'd love to have a kid be able to go 20 a night. That's easy. Put it in the book. Let's move on. Let's go find 30 more points. But when I can look in the book and you got 4 and 5 guys sitting at double digits or hovering around 8, 9 points a game, that makes it hard to defend because it's almost causing the other team to be perfect on their defensive assignments. Because one of the things that I've learned is we have to make people pay for mistakes. Just like people make us pay for a bad rotation on defense, you miss a pass and now they throw the skip. There they go, they burn you for 3. But for us, we've bought into the fact that it could be anybody in Glass's night, any given night. So we ride the hot hand as long as we can. And when that person's time is up or we feel like, hey, there's another matchup we need to shift to, the guys get in the mindset to say, let's go get it.
Coach, I think one thing we got to address with you is that defense. I mean, y'all are giving up just over 42 points a game. Just looking at your schedule, I think you've only given up above 50.6 times this year, which is absolutely
And I can name every 6 of those. I want you to know that.
I bet you could. Well, I mean, just curious, like in this day and age where it's all about AAU and putting up points and everybody wants to score. How are you relaying this message to high school kids that it starts with the defensive side of the ball?
So I do it. It's almost like a banking system. You know, when you go to the bank, you can't take money out unless you put money in. So if you want to shoot freely on the offensive side, you got to give me everything you've got on the defensive side. We're going to score points. I've never panicked about that. I don't worry about where we are on the points per possession, which is something we kind of monitor also. Excuse me. But one of my biggest things is you give me every bit of effort you have on the defensive end. And if you want to take a bad shot, cool, let's talk about it. But if you're not going to give me the effort on the defensive end, you don't get a chance to say, Coach, I'm going to take this bad shot. No, sir. There goes my sub horn. Come sit down. I got a clipboard for you. And to be honest, we do so much point scoring from a coaching standpoint in practice that evolves around defense that our guys, we call them kills. They love to track kills. My son sits on the sideline of every game and the guys ask him, how many kills do we have? How many kills do we have? And so they keep up with a lot of those throughout the game. And it keeps it just keeps us energized on a day-to-day basis to stay and do the little details all the way through.
Coach, you said you were there for 7 years, or this is your 7th season there. I've gone back. I think I went back 7 years. I don't see any losing seasons. I mean, you're winning 15 to 20 games every year. Played for a state championship just a couple years ago. Played Verona to a 3-point game, which I'm sure was just a home game for Verona there at VCU.
Yeah.
But you guys played them tough, and you're almost there. Then you're in the regions again this year. How have you done it, and what's the message? Do you look back at those games that you lost, or you move forward and this is a new year?
My very first year, I started off 0-6.
Oh wow!
I finished up. I think that one I finished 14-8.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we do so much. Last night we had the guys over. Me and my wife had the guys over at the house. We had dinner. We hung out. We played the video game. We pour a lot of time into them from a family culture that when it's time to drill into them and I got to yell or I got to scream on a kid, they know where it comes from. And, one of the things that if you ask them, we're playing for somebody else. Each one of us is playing for somebody else. It's bigger than just Coach DJ. We're playing for the name across our chest. We're playing for the community that follows us when we went all the way to Richmond. We're playing for the people that help hang banners in the hallways and the sponsors that help us get the team shoes or the travel suits and stuff like that. And we're playing for those who didn't get to get this far. And I think that the guys, they just naturally, they love hanging out with each other. They love playing for one another. And my younger guys have bought into the fact that we have so many seniors and they want them to enjoy this ride. But they've bought into the culture. And, a couple years ago, I think it was, so 22, 23, we went, so 21, 22, we lost state quarterfinals to Loudoun County. I think that was the taste. But one of the things when we went to the banquet that year, I told every parent that was there that became the standard, and the standard is now the expectation. Who I think we've won the Seminole District 5 years out of my 7, 4 in a row. And I think that we've been to regions every single year minus the COVID year, and we haven't lost in the first round yet, knock on wood. But the standard continues to improve. And so, once you get a taste of qualifying for state quarterfinals, once you get a taste of getting all the way to the state championship game, you have that itch because we know how hard it is to get there. We know how hard it took to lose by 3 points. So everything we did, it wasn't good enough. So we're trying to find that next thing to do so that way we can be able to turn that page and also be able to just kind of grind it out and go get one. I mean, it's been since 1967 since Glasses won a basketball state championship.
Coach, talk about your roster here. What are some players that we should, know about, or what players need to make an impact for you guys to make a run?
The political answer is the team. You guys seen it. We could score in different bunches, but one of the things that I call myself is this is guard university right here. My guards, JT Osborne, Adrian Farmer, James Ferguson, Zach Wilson, Mama Harris, which is a freshman. So keep an eye out for him over the next couple years. But then we got people who can just flat out shoot it. Will Wesley and Gavin Arthur, those are our shooters. Hey, you just named basically your whole team. But it's because everybody plays an instrumental role. Whenever someone wants to try to stop somebody, we're going to go somewhere else. And it just shows our versatility of being able to do what we're trying to do. When I first started, if we turned you over, we could score 70, 80 points a game. But if we didn't turn you over, we could only score 30 and 40 points. So one of the things that we've harped on is half court sets and things like that. And now we're able to score 50, 60 points and without even trying to really turn you over. But I think that those guards, JT, James, Zach, and Adrian, I think that they're our engine. That they're going to get us to go where we want to go. They play both sides of the floor. They play it very effective. We're going to play 94 feet. We don't care what the score is. And it's not a shot at anybody else. I remember when I lost to GW a couple years ago, I lost by 42 points. That year they won state championship. That didn't bother me. I didn't take it the wrong way. I looked at it and said, we got to be better. And so one of the things that we've harped on playing 94 feet of basketball. So it puts us in a whole lot better shape than most people that get up and down because they don't have the personnel to replicate it in practice. So the first time they get to see it is in the game. Well, if we come out and throw a first punch and next thing you know, you're down 10-0, it's really hard to get going when you don't get to control the pace of the game.
Coach, JT Osborne, better DB, wide receiver, or guard?
He is freakishly athletic. I'm going to go with guard. Normally, I would side on a football field, but he uses his instincts and his physicality to get to the rim, to finish, to jump passing lanes. He's got cat-like reflexes, and it's nothing for you to try to throw a pass and boom, he quick twitches and uses that defensive back skills. And next thing you know it, he's 4.5 feet in the air getting a steal, throwing it ahead to the guard, and we just get a bucket out of it.
Coach, I want to say this before I might have to get cut off here in just a second because my battery's turning low. I can't find my power cord. I apologize ahead of time. Anyway, I wanted to let you know that just listening to the things that you said tonight, and I haven't met you yet, and I look forward to meeting you soon, but you are one class act, and for you and your wife and family to open up your home to your kids on your team to do this is something special. And I can understand why every kid in Lynchburg, Virginia would want to come over and play for you.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it.
Coach, 7:15, 7:20, whatever it is on Tuesday the 25th. What's the message to the
Six
guys in the
o'clock.
locker room? It's 6
6 o'clock.
o'clock. 6 o'clock.
Yep.
What's the
Because it was 7:30 because we were supposed to play behind the girls on
okay.
Monday. So it's been shifted to 6 o'clock on Tuesday.
So 5:50, 5:45, somewhere on there. What's the message to the guys in the locker room before you play against Halifax or Mecklenburg?
We've been here before. Let's go do it. I mean, I think the cool thing is when you have a schedule like we've had, there isn't a speech anymore. It's buckle up. It's time to put it across your chest and go do while we beat each other up in practice every day for 2 hours. You finally get to be on the same side. So let's go make somebody else pay the price. You got people that's paying to come and watch you. They either want to see you lose or they want to see you win. Give them a show.
Coach, you got a couple more baskets in that frame you got there. Play a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
You ever challenge your guys in practice at all?
So I'll shoot. I don't know if you guys know, I have an autoimmune deficiency disorder called Wegener's. And so I try not to get up and down. I'm a whole lot healthier now than I was 3 years ago. So I told myself I'd get working out and I'd get up and down with them from time to time. We can only play the three. So that's all I got if we're going all the way up and down. But I'll do some drills with them where a lot of them don't think that, hey, coach, you still don't have it. All right, let's go. Let's shoot 100 right now. And then when they realize that I can still shoot, then they start to dial back a little bit.
Coach, who do you form your coaching style after? Is there? I mean, it doesn't. I ask this. It doesn't have to be on the NBA or college level. I mean, just who do you gear yourself after?
So I'm a Shaka Smart fan. I was a Shaka Smart fan. He used to be at VCU, and he used to call it havoc. And that was his style of defense. But, my high school coach, Dwight Robinson at Lansdowne, and then Coach Roy Robertson, who's now down in the Raleigh area, they all play the same style. And so my whole thing is pressure, 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 pressure. If you like pressure, well, we're going to give you a bigger dosage of it. And we're going to turn it up a whole lot every time we get it. It's called controlled chaos.
Coach, don't feel free to not give away your secrets or anything here, but I know you've probably done some research into Halifax and Mecklenburg. What have you seen out of those two teams, and what do you expect for the game come Tuesday night?
Athletes. They both have athletes. I think that's one of the plus sides for us is we kind of get to look in the mirror and play something very identical. They're going to want to get up and down. Which is one of our specialties, but it's going to be a physical game. The best thing about the playoffs is nobody wants to go home. So you're going to get everybody's best punch for 32 minutes, no matter, hey, they're coming off a back-to-back. No one cares about stuff like that at this point. You throw the record out the window and you're going to get there. You're going to get a team's best 32 minutes, no matter the score. Even if you're up 40, they're going to find a way to claw back. You're down 30, you got to find a way to claw back.
Well, Coach, I think we held you hostage a little bit too long, but we appreciate your time. I know you got a lot of things going on to get ready for region play, but Coach DJ Best of the EC Glass Hilltoppers, Coach, we appreciate it so much.
Hey, thank you guys so much for the time. Good luck to you guys.
Yeah,
Yes,
maybe we can grab you after you progress a little bit further down and maybe get to Richmond there.
Come on with it. You guys get me on here anytime you want me.
That's awesome. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it.